Welcome back to the WHTC Morning News for this Tuesday, October 19th. Tuesday mornings, we catch up with what's going on in Washington with 18-term U.S. House Representative Fred Upton of St. Joseph. He joins us via the Zoom connection this morning. Fred, good morning. Sorry we missed you last week, but glad you're back with us this week.
Absolutely.
Glad you are with us. And Fred, first of all, I think you and a lot of people across the country are expressing their sentiments after the passing of former Secretary of State and former General and the retired General Colin Powell.
Well, Colin Powell was a wonderful American hero. I had the chance over my years to get to know him actually fairly well. He came here to St. Joe. He spoke to the Economic Club at Lake Michigan College. Did countless briefings with him, and whether it's at the Pentagon or Secretary of State. And we had some very close mutual friends. So we actually spent some personal time together. He was a terrific man, had the interests of the country first, suffered through some diseases here, a little bit of Parkinson's, a few other things. And of course, COVID is what ended up taking him, and very sad news. Actually, I heard the news when I was up in Holland yesterday morning speaking to the West Coast Chamber.
There are some that are, well, let's just put it this way, a little critical of General Powell over his time as Secretary of State, basically in the Iraq situation, saying that sullied his image. With the passage of time, more than anything else, that has glossed that over a little bit?
Well, he confessed that was a mistake. It takes a great person to say, you know what, I made a mistake, when he testified before the United Nations way back when. We had bad information. We've all said that. And to his credit, he said he made a mistake.
Now, time to move on, as they say. Let's touch upon a story that's on our wires and ties in a little bit of what Republicans in the U.S. House Energy and Commerce Committee sent a letter to the former Michigan Governor, Jennifer Granholm, currently the Secretary of Energy. Oil prices rose today on a supply crunch in natural gas. Electricity and coal continued across the globe, while falling temperatures in China revive concerns over whether the world's biggest energy consumer can meet domestic demand for heating. That letter, Fred, that you and other E&C Republicans sent to Madam Secretary Granholm basically said, what's the deal with the high energy prices in the United States? But the world, I think to a certain extent, has to be taken into consideration too.
Well, this has always been a supply and demand issue. When I was chairman of the Energy and Commerce Committee, we embarked on a plan to make North American energy independent, something that was going to create jobs, help the pocketbooks of particularly struggling Americans, as we all have to deal with energy costs, whether we're driving to school or work, or whether we're just seeing goods get delivered that we're able to purchase. Home heating, air conditioning, all those things are critical. And in fact, we did so. And we did it with expanding production here in the United States. Now, we've seen gas prices go up literally. I think these are the highest they've been in years, literally 40 cents just this last week in terms of the price at the pump. We're also being warned about natural gas costs, so that not only impacts our ag community, who's got to dry their crops like corn, but obviously as we're beginning to see a little bit of frost out there, people tuning up their furnaces, all that type of thing, the price, they're going to be surprised when they get those monthly bills. So what are we doing to increase production here to try to have some damper on some of those costs that are otherwise going to hit people pretty hard when they get those monthly bills starting shortly? No response yet, by the way, from the secretary. So we'll keep you posted.
So, which unfortunately, I'm a funny feeling that is not surprising. If it was from the Democrats, well, we'll discuss that another time. Fred Upton, of course, one of the things that you feel will be a legacy when you do finally leave Congress is the 21st Century Cures package, initially signed by President Obama, but 21st Century Cures 2.0 about ready to be rolled out this week.
Well, I think we're going to be introducing it tomorrow. Of course, this is the next version of 21st Century Cures. What did 21st Century Cures do? Well, we expedited, sped up the approval of drugs and devices. We were, the COVID vaccine is a direct result of the work that we did. Started way back in 2014. President Obama signed it in 2016, and we got the vaccine maybe as much as a year, 10 to 12 months earlier than it otherwise would have been. Version 2.0 is going to be another yet rendition of that. We're going to be looking at telemedicine, something that we've learned quite a bit in the last 5 or 6 years. We're going to be looking at trying to streamline these trials again using what we call real world evidence. And we're taking up one of the president's major initiatives called ARPA-H. This is advanced research in healthcare, a new department within the NIH, the National Institutes of Health, to be a nimble agency to really look at some breakthrough therapies, whether they be cures or devices, something maybe get them out of the bureaucratic realm of things as some things that might be real exciting. And it's already been funded to the tune of $3 billion, approved by the House a little bit earlier this year. Ultimately, probably gets done to the president's desk in December. We want our bill to get to the president's desk as well. It's bipartisan, and we're hoping to unveil it a little bit later this week.
One final thing, and it's a story out of the news, and it involves to a certain extent your colleague up in Zealand, Bill Huizenga, who says that he is working with the Biden administration and the State Department dealing with the missionaries who are right now being held for ransom, $1 million each in Haiti. And apparently a family from Hart reportedly is among those who are being captured and are in that situation. But it does highlight to me, and maybe you agree or disagree, I don't know, but two problems. One, the Haitian situation, when we had the issue, and we still have the issue of Haitians, refugees wanting to get into this country, the situation at the border. And secondly, those who might feel, well, we need to defund the police in the wake of what happened last year with George Floyd. What we're seeing in Haiti now is basically a little bit of anarchy right now, and the results are unfortunately there to be seen. I don't know if you agree with me on those two assumptions or those two conclusions based on the situation there, but it's a tough situation.
It is. A couple of things. I agree with you. We never should be defunding our police. We ought to be adding more resources so they can protect their communities no matter where they are. Certainly in this country, our hearts break for the folks, for the missionaries, Oceana County that are there from Hart. We've all been following it on the news. And I've got to say, most of us, I'm sure you and I both know, I know my church has been involved in sending folks to Haiti to try to help the less unfortunate or less fortunate folks there. Let's hope that that the authorities can identify and get these people out. Hopefully no ransom is paid. They're there out of their own pocket. They're there helping the people that need it the most, really within our hemisphere. So I'm all with Bill Huizenga on this. That's for sure. This is the Christian way. And let's just hope this gets resolved very, very quickly without a tragic end.
One other thing too, Fred, and I, if you're going to comment it, fine. If not, that's fine too. But the situation in Haiti is one thing, but there are other spots around the world that are just as volatile. Some spots in Africa, the Middle East, Afghanistan, if you want to use that, where there are missionaries. They go forward where people might retreat back. And we're seeing, we have not seen the high publicity in those situations as we are seeing right now in Haiti, maybe because it's closer to our borders than anything else. But certainly dealing with international situations, sometimes out of sight is not necessarily good for being out of mind.
Well, you're right, but it's not often that Americans are kidnapped and held for ransom, particularly completely innocent folks like this. All the folks, 16 or 17 people that are there. It grabs not only our headlines, but world headlines as well. We all know the quality of life in Haiti, the impact that storms have had, the poor that are there. I mean, all the different troublesome, the assassination of their head of state not too long, just a few weeks ago. So, it's a very tough situation, but it's made even tougher with the kidnapping of these great Americans that are there actually lending a hand at their own expense, trying to make things a little bit better. The Christian way.
He is Congressman Fred Upton. He joins us Tuesday mornings to talk about things going on in Washington. Fred, as always, thank you for your time and thank you for your observations. Wish you and your family well over the next week or so. And if all goes well, we'll chat again next Tuesday morning.
Think it'll happen.
Thank you very much, Fred Upton, on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC.